is if you I don't know if you notice this, but his walls and his windows are all lined with tinfoil.
Mm-hmm.
There's tinfoil all over it, which is common among people who are paranoid. People with certain conditions and drug use and things like that. They'll line the walls with and even people who, I'm not saying like everybody who does it. There's reasons people do it. That's another.
Yeah. There's
That's another conversation.
That's a great point. Yeah, there's two. Can I just a tangent? There's two
Yeah, go
reasons
ahead.
people do this. One is the TIs, right? The targeted individuals who wear. That's where the tinfoil hat comes from, right? Because of V2K technology, and there is something to that. Usually the TIs online are schizophrenic or whatever, but that it can also induce schizophrenia because you're literally hearing voices, right? And
right.
They do that. There are TIs, of course, but and so your house is used as a giant receptor, right? The walls of the house, you can make voices come from the walls of the house. But the other is, I remember reading about that Elvis did this, and also Prince and Axl Rose. Axl Rose famously does this, that whenever he stays in a hotel. Actually, I stayed at the Ritz in New Orleans when I was down there for a family event, and I was talking to the concierge, and we were just talking. She was fine. She was a fine lady that worked at the Ritz, and she said that Guns N' Roses had just been there as part of their tour because I wouldn't go see them now, but whatever. They were on their tour, and that Axl and Slash stayed on opposite ends of the hotel, and that Axl rented out the penthouse, and that they made the hotel workers do is cover every inch of the walls in tinfoil. They had to cover all the windows, and that's because they have to be blacked out. Everything has to be blacked out with tinfoil. Will do that, and so of course, meth, substance D, people will do that so as not to see the sun, right? To stay in darkness. And one more thing, I've got a clip here of this gateway process.
Oh,
talk about gateway process if you want to hear. This is I think it's about a minute long. This is a clip of a guy getting red pilled in real time. Okay, this is a news reporter, and they were following a guy in a LA police chase, and he's talking to the guy back at the base, at the news headquarters, and so I'll just play the clip. You guys ready? This is good.
Because I did overhear the conversation just a bit earlier about what exactly the man was screaming about. I actually looked into these schizo posters, and I mean, I have to say, I am really not sure what I'm looking at here at all. Hey, Chris, I think visually they are very beautiful images, but there also seems to be quite a bit of concerning text laid over the artwork. Bruce, have you ever heard of the gateway process and the CIA's research into consciousness energy grids? Are you aware that this stuff is all real? I mean, the CIA actually conducted tests to determine...
Hey, Chris, let's try to keep this coverage on topic for our viewers for now. I'm sure that's all something we can get into later, but for now, I would just really appreciate it if we could focus on what's actually happening on the ground.
That's me at work. I mean, that is so good, right? That's real.
I remember seeing that, like a year or two ago, when that clip came out, and because the guy was in the helicopter, right? And he was talking on maybe you sent me that. That might have been where I first saw that.
I sent it, yeah. Yes, he's talking about what they discovered about the guy in the chase.
Yeah.
So he goes into it and he says these schizo posters. Do you know what these schizo posters are? Have you ever heard of the CIA's gateway process and consciousness energy grid? It's so good. But that's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what the movie's about it's not about that on the surface, except for some things that Robert Downey Jr. says, but it is about an all-encompassing surveillance grid and about the consciousness energy grid and the way to sort of diffuse visualization based on a mass-produced drug. And what's interesting is that the rehab facility for the drug is the one producing the drug, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.